Homeschool, business owner, homemaker, and mom. How does it all fit into one day? Today, I'm sharing a realistic look at how I make it work. This is not a perfectly organized day where everything goes exactly to plan. In fact, I'm starting off by running the self-clean on the oven because I made a giant mess in it last night when I was cooking dinner. And to be honest, it was the end of the day and I just couldn't be bothered, so I left it for the morning. I've realized that in this season of life for me, productivity looks a little different because I'm balancing so many things. So some days it looks like starting a load of laundry while I'm on a business call. Sometimes it's fitting in our homeschool lessons in between the appointments I have to run to around town. It's really just finding little pockets of time to take care of our home and to be a mom. So today I'm bringing you along for a realistic day in our house as I homeschool, work from home running my business, and try my best to keep up with all of the everyday homemaking and motherhood that just comes along with it. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about trying to balance all of these different roles that I have or that you might have is that there's some kind of magic formula where one day we just figure it all out and everything runs perfectly. That's just not real life. Some days I am really on top of things and the house is picked up and homeschool goes smoothly and I feel like I'm finally ahead. And other days I'm just doing the next thing in front of me and trying my best to give myself a little more grace. I'm trying to learn that balance isn't about giving everything the exact same amount of time every day, but instead just knowing what is a priority, what really needs my attention in that moment, and then just being flexible enough to adjust when things don't go according to plan. I think those would be my two biggest takeaways is knowing what your priority is and being flexible. Because at the end of the day, there's no such thing as a perfect routine. It's just trying to create a home and a rhythm that works for our family in this season. Today, that looked like starting my morning off by making eggs for everyone and a smoothie for myself because I am just having an obsession with smoothies at the moment. And it's a great, easy way to pack in a lot of protein and fiber. And I don't know, that's just my hyperfixation breakfast. So we're just going with it. And as soon as I was done with that, while my husband was helping the kids get dressed and get ready for the day, I started jarring up some chicken stock that I had going overnight. So I did not can this. I just used the mason jars to store it in, and I'm putting it in the fridge because I'm going to be using it up so quickly anyway. There was really no point in trying to can it. And also my pressure canner terrifies me to absolutely no end. So if I don't have to use it, I don't want to. I would love to get an electric pressure canner. I've looked some up. If you have any advice about that, please let me know in a comment below. But I'm just jarring this up, and I actually on this day end up making 3 different batches of chicken stock and getting all of that tucked away into the fridge. So super, super grateful for that. And once again, just loving my Instant Pot for making that so much easier for me. Something that's really helping me right now is remembering and reminding myself often that I don't have to do everything the same way another family does it. And so I just wanted to kind of give you that reminder as well as a gift. Our days in our home, they look different because I'm not just a stay-at-home mom homeschooling, but I'm also working from home and running my own business, and I have a child that has more needs than your typical child, so that's another factor. So there's just a lot of different hats that I wear throughout the day, and it's okay that we don't look the same way as every other homeschool family or every other neurotypical family or anything like that. Like, we are our own unique family, and you are your own unique family. So everything's going to look different. And comparing our lives to what we see on social media or what we see from somebody even that we know in real life, it's just not going to serve us well. I do use a lot of like systems and things in order to like keep my brain working. Not anything complicated or Pinterest worthy, just like small things that keep the day running smoother. Things like I have kind of a general rhythm to the mornings, and I know what meals I'm going to make ahead of time. Things like I keep up with the house kind of just a little bit at a time, or a little bit at a time, like in little chunks, instead of just trying to wait until it all piles up and then doing everything at once. I just find ways to fit work into the pockets of time that I have available. And that's something I just really want to encourage you with. Like, you don't have to completely overhaul your life to make things feel more manageable. Sometimes you just need to look at like, what is causing me the most stress right now, and then finding one small thing you can do to make just that one thing a little bit easier. For me right now, that looks like being so intentional with how I spend my time. Not because I need to like squeeze every second out of the day or be productive for every single second, but just because I want to have margin in my day to be present with my family. Like, I want to have that space to play with my kids, to read the extra chapter, to, look at the artwork that they're so desperate to show me. So for me, that looks like right now just being super, super intentional with how I spend my time so that I do give myself that margin that I personally want right now. I also just have to remind myself a lot that there will always be dishes and laundry and emails, and there will always be things on the to-do list, but that's okay. They're just part of the everyday tasks that are just part of this life that we're building. And I'm trying to focus on enjoying the process instead of always feeling like I'm trying to play catch up. Once I have my morning rhythm started with the laundry going, bread started, and a few things checked off my list, it's time for one of my favorite parts of the day, which is getting my coffee and sitting down with my kids for read-alouds. I mean, no homeschool morning or any morning is really complete without coffee. So our homeschool days, I try to keep them pretty relaxed and just kind of focus on not rushing through the lessons just for the sake of like checking the box saying that we got it done. I want our home to be a place where learning just happens naturally, and I want my kids to love the process of learning something. So I try to keep the atmosphere very relaxed and just make sure that we have flexibility to be able to slow down when we need to. If we need to slow down for a subject or like a certain kind of concept, I want to make sure that I always keep the flexibility for us to have that opportunity when we need to use it. So after breakfast and my like morning chores, we settle in to do our read-alouds, which, like I said, is one of my very favorite parts, just because I really love literature and I love reading, and I just love that it's something we all enjoy doing together. We love reading together and talking, and I just know that we're creating so many precious little memories that I will look back on very fondly. And homeschooling is just one part of my day. Of course, like, there's a lot of other things that I need to do and a lot of other moving parts. But honestly, even though it's just one small part, it is the reason that I work so hard to create all of the other systems that I have. Because having those simple routines and systems really makes it easier to homeschool, easier to have that flexibility I talked about. And homeschool is just very, very important to us. So I need to make sure that everything else is working in a way that homeschool stays a priority. Now, having said all of that, I want to be completely transparent and say that today's math lesson just about broke me. So, even while I say that, I try to keep the atmosphere calm and I try to create that flexibility, math was just not it this morning. And, we all have days like that. I think it was just, I had other things that were stressing me out as well, and everybody was getting hungry. And I just had a moment where I was like, no, let's just push through and finish. That way we can be done before lunch. Instead of what I should have done, which is stop and fed everybody, including myself, who was getting quite hangry, and then come back to it. But we don't always do the thing that we need to do. So that was how that went for me. And I just had to take a moment afterwards and take some deep breaths, and just kind of recover from not just math, but some things going on in the background with work and some frustrating emails and things that were coming in. Was really just kind of like amping my stress level up. So it was just a couple of different things all came together to just mean that I just needed to take a minute. And so I did. And then I put on some music that makes me really happy and just got back to folding the laundry and kind of moving on with the day to just put that behind me. After we finish up our homeschool time, the kids have a little bit of independent play, and we do this every afternoon. It is a very important and helpful rhythm for our family. It gives my kids time to explore and play and work on their own interests, and it gives me a dedicated block of time to sit down and focus on my business without constantly switching back and forth between tasks. I am still interrupted sometimes. I mean, my youngest is just only 5 years old, so that's very normal. One thing I've done is I've created a list of activities that are like always a yes, things that she and her brother are always allowed to do without needing to ask my permission. And that usually helps them to remember that, oh, I can go check the list and find something to do. That has been really helpful. So we just keep it on the fridge, and I have things on there like swing on the swings outside, build a fort in your room, play with magnetiles, just whatever kind of things. I think I have a list of like 20 that they can always do that does not need my help or my permission, and that has been such a game changer. The other thing I'm going to tell you is this was a day. I mean, I don't know that it shows so much in the clips, but just hear me when I say that I had such a day today. Work was difficult. And on top of everything else, and this is just kind of funny. I don't know, but like y'all, I got put into a group text while all this was going on, and I am just not a group text person. And I think that was like the cherry on top. That was, or like the straw that broke the camel's back. I was just like, that's it. That's everything. The day is ruined. Math didn't go well. Work is super stressful. And now this. So you can feel free to laugh at me because I'm laughing at me. But yes, it was just, look at poor Blue, the dog. He knows we're stressed today. So just because of how the day had gone and just where I was at mentally, I finished up work. I had a few chores like slicing up one of the loaves of bread that I had made earlier the day, got my son over to speech therapy, and then I put dinner in the oven and changed clothes and went for a walk. It was 95 degrees outside here in Central Texas, but I didn't even care. I mean, granted, I only lasted 30 minutes because it was so hot, but man, just getting out of the house and walking for a while. My husband was off work, so he was able to, watch the kids and everything. That was so helpful for my mental health to just get out and move around a little bit. I didn't listen to music or a podcast or a book or anything. I didn't even take my phone with me. I just walked. And that was so helpful. And then I came home and I was in a much better mood. I put away even more of the chicken stock that I had made. And then I finally was able to sit down and just have a nice dinner with my family and get my kids into bed, and ended the day on a positive note, which felt really good. And that's a pretty realistic look at what a productive but not perfect day looks like in our home. Thank you so much for spending the day with me, and if you enjoyed this video, I'd love for you to stick around and check out some of my other videos where I share more about homeschooling, homemaking, and just the simple systems that help our family run.